seguidores del Listín Diario que me encuentro en este momento en Cabarete, en el distrito municipal de Cabarete, aquí en Puerto Plata. Bastante fuertes los vientos. Recordarle que me encuentro aquí en Cabarete, en la provincia de Puerto Plata. Así podemos ver cómo están los vientos. Bastante fuertes los vientos aquí en Cabarete. Fuertes vientos, fuertes oleajes. El nivel de oleaje de las olas están anormal, ya las olas están penetrando a la calle aquí en Cabarete. Miren cómo azota el viento a las matas de coco de una manera impresionante. Recordándole que estamos transmitiendo en vivo para los seguidores del Listín Diario, para llevarle todo lo que está aconteciendo aquí en Cabarete, la parte norte del país.
Termina el río Soco, mire, parece un mar, es lo que parece. Ahí estamos aquí, a ver si me veo ahí para que se vea que no es bulto. Estamos haciendo una transmisión para el Listín Diario, ahí se ve bien. Perfecto, mire, ahí atrás nos queda el río Soco. Afortunadamente no hay ninguna situación que lamentar en cuanto a personas, hay varios damnificados. Personas que han sido enviadas al refugio. Mire el río Soco aquí, hay varios jóvenes mirando y chequeando. Hola, que han venido a ver lo que ha pasado luego de...
We have the latest update here on Hurricane Maria. This is still a major hurricane, and there's been a lot of devastation left behind from this storm. Multiple deaths reported out toward Dominica that had a direct hit from this hurricane earlier in the week as a Cat 5. Now it's a Category 3 storm. Winds earlier today were sustained at 115 miles per hour, now at 120 miles per hour. And we're looking at the movement here to the north and west. So over Puerto Rico, there are still flash flood warnings in place, and rightfully so. Some spots have seen over 3 feet of rainfall as this storm has passed through. So the center of circulation right now is north of the Dominican Republic. However, this northwest track brings it very close to the Turks and Caicos. With that said, we do still have hurricane warnings and also tropical storm warnings in place. Hurricane warnings for parts of the Dominican Republic, Turks and Caicos, the southeastern Bahamas, and there's also a tropical storm watch for the central Bahamas. And that's where we are going to see some heavy rainfall, gusty winds, but the worst of the storm, as you can see, is going to curve east of the Bahamas here. However, as we get into the forecast late tonight, you'll notice Maria, still a major hurricane, still a Category 3 storm. It goes to the northwest, slightly to the north-northwest tonight. And again, it's going to be a very close call for the Turks and Caicos. And as high-pressure weekends, we'll start to see it this weekend, trending more to the north. And a lot of people at this point have major concerns about the U.S. mainland, what we can expect. Well, a couple of scenarios out there right now. High pressure is kind of steering this thing. As we get into the forecast for next week, the possibility is for a pronounced dip in the jet stream. That would keep this out to sea. However, if we don't see that pronounced dip in the jet stream, we will have to keep our eye on the southeast coast. So that's not quite off the table. Regardless, looking at the forecast for next week, no direct impact is expected here in the southeast states, including Florida, but we still could have some strong rip currents to contend with. Again, that's right into next week.
Destroyed from Hurricane Maria as well as Irma. Leading that charge is Brock Long. He is director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and he joins us now. Sir, we're pleased that you were able to take a second away in order to talk to us, given everything that's going on. But we all have to wonder how you could possibly have the resources to deal with these three huge disasters in a row.
Yeah, that's a great question. So obviously the response phases of Harvey and Irma have basically come to a close. And so we were able to reposition search and rescue crews, disaster medical teams, our incident management teams to focus on Maria. We also left about 3,200 staff, federal staff, from National Guard to FEMA staff to HHS staff, on the island territories. And so we're looking at devastating impacts from St. Croix to Puerto Rico.
How serious is the situation?
Very serious. Both territories are basically without power and will be so for a very long time. They both have very fragile power systems. We don't have a good handle on the search and rescue at this point from the standpoint of fatalities or people trapped, but our folks are moving out as soon as the weather allows and going to be performing the life safety mission.
When you say they're going to be without power for a very long time, what do you anticipate that to be?
So anytime after a storm like this, what we focus on first of all is restoring emergency power to critical facilities such as hospitals. That takes a lot of work. We have to first clear the roadways of debris. We have to make sure that we can get the trucks into the areas to fix the emergency power. And then after that, we start to focus on working with Governor Rosselló and Governor Mapp on how we actually fix the greater grid that provides power to everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that in an island situation, it's even harder than it is, here on the mainland of the U.S. How is it different?
Well, logistically, it's a big challenge. You don't typically have all the resources you need stored on the island, so they have to come from the continental United States over. For example, we have ships ready to go, I believe, out of Jacksonville with power poles. And so over the next few days, the ships will be making their way as the ports become open and crews come on from the continental U.S. as well to be able to assess what needs to be done to bring the grid back up.
You talked about moving on from the other disasters that we've just seen go through. I mean, people are already, I'm afraid, forgetting about Houston and what has happened there. I mean, can you bring us up to date? I know you said that you've, I guess, finished your services there, but what is the situation like?
Well, we haven't finished our services in Texas by any means. That was just the response phase.
I see.
We're working with the state of Texas every day. We still have a tremendous amount of staff in Texas helping to formulate the road and pathway to recovery. We work daily with Governor Abbott's staff. Particularly the biggest challenge is going to be the housing mission and how we can expedite this mission and get people back into their homes and better situations than where they are.
I mean, I think people out there that are in any of these areas are wondering, how do you prioritize what to do? You know, I mean, there's so much, there are so many different places. There are so many people that need help right now.
Well, saving lives always takes priority over everything else. We can't bring people back to life, so that's the first goal, is saving lives and taking care of people.
The storm is now really just hammering the north shore here of the Dominican Republic, right through there. And there's a couple mountain ranges in here, too. I'm afraid that all of this moisture that's coming off the storm is now getting in those mountains, just like it got into the Puerto Rican mountains, and all of this rain is going to come rushing down in flash flooding. So we're going to watch that for you. But really, I mean, I think the focus is still probably on St. Croix, on Puerto Rico, and the like, because what this storm already did. Now, it's going to move into the Turks and Caicos, but there's the latest advisory, 115. So that hasn't changed. The pressure hasn't changed much either, about 959 millibars. So not deepening rapidly like it did before it got to Dominica. So 120, 115, but that's 110, but that's in the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing really to hit there. And as long as it misses Bermuda, for now, all of the weather models are missing the United States as well. One thing I want to point out, though, where Irma went, the yellow line, and where Maria is right now, right over the top of that. Now, there is some disturbance to some wake here where the water isn't quite as warm because Irma did go over it. So that may hinder Maria for a while, but then watch what happens. It crosses the path and then turns off to the right. So we'll continue to watch that. I think the story, Anna, that people don't understand about how it's 4 to 6 months for power is that you can't drive bucket trucks from Georgia and Florida and fix power lines in Puerto Rico. There are no interstates that go there. You cannot just put the equipment that they need on that island. Sure, you can ferry some in and all that, but it will take a long time. And not just power lines, but distribution poles are gone. They have to rebuild that. A little bit like what they went through with the ice storm up in Atlantic Canada, up in Montreal and Newfoundland, you know, years and years ago. They had to put up the entire hydro grid.